Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Top Music Attorney, Miss Krystle, and this is the Top Music Attorney podcast where you learn all about the entertainment business and how to stay legally protected. We are coming back finally. Today was my Monday from the 4th of July holiday weekend. As you guys are filling in and filing in and doing all the stuffy things, be sure to say hi. Let me know where you're checking in from. And how was your holiday weekend? I know some of you went on vacation. You were traveling. You are brave souls to be traveling at all, just as far as it's very overwhelming to me. Like, I think I like flying better than driving. I think I'm just really opposed to driving at all anymore when it's like, when I go to California or Nevada. Um, so I like flying a little bit better, but it's all kind of an intense experience, and I feel very neurotic whenever I'm traveling because I'm like worrying about the cats and making sure all the to-do items and all the hair curlers, unplugged, and that's just me. Hi, hi, hi. So yeah, my 4th of July was great. I had a chance to go and see family. I don't get to see family too often. It's a very big family. There was, a total of 7 of us in the house when I was growing up, right? So that's just direct family. And then all my sisters went, and well, not all, a couple of my sisters went and had a lot of children. So I have many a nephew and a niece, and it's always fun just like seeing them, getting to know them. All right. Hey, 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 checking in from Phoenix. Very nice. I love seeing you guys that do check in every show. I really, really appreciate you being here. And that's why I like doing this live, because then we actually get to do this together. So, yesterday was lots of celebration, lots of happy things, but it was also a sad day. We had the first anniversary and memorial for Artie, and in fact, I'll while I'm talking about this, I'll pull up a picture for you guys. But little Artie. There we go. These are the pictures I posted. So little Artie, he passed a year ago on July 4th. Little Artie was an Orange Terrier, and he was just the sweetest little guy. Such a good friend to Gizmo, Kitty, and just, our son, basically. And so it was really, really hard last year. It was really hard yesterday as well for pet owners in general. I think you understand and you can sympathize and just understand. Like when you lose a pet, you've like lost a son, you've lost a daughter, or it feels like that. And so it was really tough, just kind of, remembering everything. But I also just had a lot of moments of gratitude because for me, I've decided to make not just July 4th, but like the week following to be in a mindset of gratitude because that's what Artie kind of brought. It was always just this very innocent, sweet kind of love and just forgetting about all the to-do items and all the stress and all the BS and just the simplicity of having this little creature that just loved you endlessly. And so that's kind of where my head is this week. And, that Orko, we're going to talk later on in the show. You guys know that Orko will be on. Yeah, so he'll be on and we'll be talking about all the things. We have all the newsy things. Here, let me show you. I think I missed one of the pictures at the end. Yeah, there's my little buddy when he got shaved. He was so cute. But yeah, so we did a little photo shoot with him. He was also very good when it came to taking photos. He was very obedient and, he was a rescue, so he had had a hard life, but that made him just such a sweetheart. So in any case, hi guys. Yes. So we're streaming right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. I know, 4th of July was always so tough for Artie. We always had too much noise. The neighbors needed to calm down, and they never did. And so Puppy was just always really scared. I don't know if you guys have gotten into CBD at all, but that seems to help a bit. Winston, when you travel a lot, have to hire more assistants. Yeah, I can't even like handle all of my booking stuff anymore. I got to get one of my team members to help. Chandler, we have someone in home base. Very nice. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, don't forget to come over and join the community on YouTube, right? We are live streaming all over the place, but this is home base, so make sure you subscribe here on Top Music Attorney YouTube. I appreciate you guys very much. Yes. Oh, don't start talking about the Rainbow Bridge. Ugh. guys, last year when this kind of happened, I was doing all the research and trying to figure out because, obviously I had my heartbreak and all that, but, it was that Orko's dog. Of course, he was my son too, and I ended up adopting him and all that, but I was like reading about the Rainbow Bridge. I have to be careful. I can't start crying on this live stream. Or maybe I will. Whatever. We just got to be in this together and be transparent, right? Yes, little Artie. He was like what do you call it? Like a therapy dog? He wasn't a therapy dog, but he was like a therapy dog. Yay, so glad that you guys are here. I hope everyone had a safe weekend, that you caught up with family. Now, in addition to obviously we're trying to really take time to have an anniversary week per se in honor of Artie, and so in what we do and trying to be more fun and playful and just to kind of live life a little bit more and just remember it's also that Orko's birthday coming up. So we're gonna make a real fuss about it on Friday's show. I'm sure he knows nothing of this, and I'm sure he's starting to sweat as I'm saying all of this. But we're gonna make a fuss, and I'm very big on birthday weeks. We don't do birthday days, okay? When it comes to at least me, I'm very adamant that it has to be a birthday week, which means you get 7 days of being ridiculous and pulling the card of, but it's my birthday, all right? So for example, someone doesn't want to take out the garbage, but it's my birthday, and then they have to take out the garbage. It's a great thing. So if you don't know about birthday weeks, now you do. All right, but I do have to admit something to you guys. So for those of you who have been following the show every week, and we have been doing the something I tried to be superhuman, and so for the week that I was kind of tracking, but then also just, the no sugar thing. Okay, so we're gonna recap on the no sugar thing, and I have something I have to admit. So I did the no sugar thing it was about 35 days. And I totally broke, okay? This was over the weekend. I think it was on Saturday and Sunday, okay? So it gets worse. But anyway, so I was doing no sugar, so that meant no added sugar, of course, but I was even staying away from things like fruit. So I was staying away from even natural sugar, because I had this theory from different research and anecdotal evidence that I saw. It's basically like, you're going to become superhuman, take away the sugar, you're not going to have any pain after workouts, no inflammation in the body. I was sold. So I tried it, and in fact, those were the results that I had. It was amazing. So after really intense workouts, I would definitely feel tired the next day. The muscles were fatigued, but I didn't have pain. And so very addicted to just that feeling. It's amazing. But then, man, oh man, was I having sugar cravings. And so I broke, and it wasn't even anything crazy, okay? I got into the blueberries, okay? So I was like, it should be fine. I have like a cup of blueberries in a smoothie, and then I had like, another half a cup later on in the day in another smoothie. So nothing even crazy. But I did that for 2 days in a row. And so by the third day, I woke up and I was walking around, and lo and behold, I was having pain in a lot of the areas that I had previously worked. So I'm back technically now. This is day 2. Okay. Today would be day 2. So we're back on the whole no sugar kick. The way I feel when I'm off of it, I'm still gonna, try, because I want to make sure that my results are in tandem with what I'm doing, right? I don't want to be like, oh, I've been off sugar for 60 days and all of a sudden I'm having this awful body pain. So I'm going to keep reporting to you guys. So I wanted to admit it. I did break my sugar or no sugar, thing. Here we go. Back to the chat. Winston, the sugar confessional. Yeah. That's what we're doing here. So welcome to the Top Music Attorney podcast, where we talk about sugar every week because it's so unbelievably addictive. CJ, birthday week, birthday month, or birthday year. I like the way you think. That might be a little too much. I feel like I don't always get, when it's my week, I never get through the full week. I usually get through like 5 days, and then there's some catastrophe, and like it's just too hard to kind of be selfish and self-centered, and you got to deal with real life. But I would really like the 7 days. I'd be into that. 11 seconds. My ex-wife must have thought it was her birthday week all year because I always had to do everything every day. Uh-oh. CJ, fructose is definitely better than sucrose, but everything in moderation. Fair enough, right? And a part of this little science experiment that I'm pulling on myself right now is I believe that. I believe everything in moderation is okay, but I'm just curious because there are, scientists, doctors, and everyone with some kind of degree, right? You can always find someone to back up your thought process. But it's very interesting to me in this pursuit of how do we feel superhuman and to feel super good every day, even when it comes to something like a cup of blueberries. Apparently that's just going to ruin it all. And there's great things, right? There's antioxidants, there's amazing things in fruit. So it's very interesting. Blueberries regulate your blood sugar. Well, and they're also like the least offensive when it comes to blood sugar spikes, right? So blueberries, raspberries are great, blackberries are great. But I digress. That's not the thing that I'm trying to be superhuman this week. So to set the stage for what we're doing this week, let's talk about spirulina for a second. Okay, so spirulina is this blue-green algae, and I get it. If you have to make sure you get it from like a Hawaiian source, okay, because you can get crap versions and they like make you toxic and sick. Don't do it. Make sure it's like organic from Hawaii. But then here's the sales points of why I'm doing it, okay? It's an extremely high nutrient dense food. It's like a superfood, right? It's like 10 times the antioxidants that you would get in blueberries, since we're not eating those right now. You have iron and copper and a slew of B vitamins, including B1, which makes you feel calm and like a superhero. It's apparently anti-cancer. It fights bad cholesterol. It helps to control your blood sugar. Okay, and then for me, the most attractive feature on top of all of that is it's supposed to help with endurance. So I guess a lot of athletes will take spirulina, not just in the powder form, but they'll even do it raw. They order it from these companies and get it as like this raw, and it doesn't taste crazy. If you've had green anything, kind of like, you're eating something green, right? It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. So anyway, I'm not doing the raw just yet. I'm sticking with just the powder for now. So I just kind of throw it in. You do like a teaspoon to a tablespoon. And, one of the things that I'm interested in is not just the endurance portion. Will it make me stronger, better, faster? But it's supposed to help you detox a little bit with heavy metal issues, right? So one of the things they say, they go, be careful when you're doing this. Some people have bad reactions because, for one, they start detoxing. And so I think that happened to me, right? So I'm 2 days into this. I took a day off because I was having really, really bad headaches, and I think I was starting to kind of go into a detox. So I want to slow it down a little bit, but that's what we're trying this week. So I'm going to check in with you on Friday. The show is at 7 p.m. PST. And on the Friday show, I will give you an update of where I'm at, how I'm feeling, and whether I'm in fact superhuman at that point. All right, so we have a lot of great things that we're going to be covering today, and we're actually trying something kind of different, right? So we have our artist tip segment, which I'm going to go through here in a minute, and then we're going to get into the newsy things, but caveat, there's this video that's been going viral. I think it's number 2 on YouTube trending right now, and it's called I Trapped 25 Strangers in a House. Okay, and I think this video is at like 3 million views or something. It was released yesterday. And so the concept is that this content creator put 25 strangers into a house, and then over 2 days and various challenges, there was elimination processes, and then they're competing for the grand prize. And I think it was like $10,000. And it was really interesting as a case study because we all love Squid Games, right? So we know we love seeing people compete and they get vicious. No one's killing each other, but from a legal perspective, it's interesting, right? Because you're putting people in very dangerous situations. So we're going to also include that in our kind of newsy things that we're going to talk about, and we'll watch some of it together. And so I'll give you some legal analysis of why you should be concerned about certain things, what the legal implications are, and we'll go through all our stuff. So with that being said, let's run the intro, and then we'll just get right into everything. Hi guys, I'm top music attorney, Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected. Let's go. know how like, big celebrities, they end up having fans that name themselves? I feel like I've been talking about sugar so consistently on this show the last, couple of weeks that you guys should name yourselves like the blueberries or like some fruit, some sugary thing. And then that way it can be like our inside joke, right? So if you're like a fan of the show, then you can be like, this is the thing that I am, and then we can get shirts. It could be great. All right, in today's artist tip video, we're going to be discussing how to sample famous songs. Now, this is going to be a quick hit list because I cover this a lot. It's a call that I get at my law office so often. As you guys know, I'm a real entertainment attorney, and so let's start with the groundwork of what is sampling. So if we're going to sample famous songs, our general understanding is that we're taking a piece of it and we're putting it in our new song, right? So we might call it a remix. We're taking the instrumental, putting something new on top of it with a vocal. We're taking just a drum loop or a guitar riff. We're taking some piece of it and using that final recorded version. So that's what we mean when we say sampling. Okay, and the confusion kind of, I guess, happens a lot in the music business with artists because they're like, well, first of all, when it comes to sampling, isn't it kind of okay? Like, don't most people do it? And the answer is a lot of particularly independent artists will sample music, right? You hear DJs doing it all the time when they're kind of splicing things together. It's become really popular on TikTok, where you have the instrumental for one song, you have the hook of another popular song, and then they blend those together. I mean, that's an example of sampling. And so the question will be, well, if it's something that people are just doing, do I have to get it cleared? Do I need to clear samples to use them in my music? And the answer is yes, right? So as an artist myself, I've wanted to sample, I've tried to sample, I've gone to clear, which I'll talk to you guys about in this video, right? I'm going to show you the steps of what you need to do to go and actually get these samples cleared. But you got to work out a deal, right? Because someone else owns it. If someone else made the thing, that means that person has copyright ownership in the thing, and that you're going to be in a world of hurt if, let's say, your song is a hit and your song has a sample in it that wasn't cleared, because now that other person has a claim for copyright infringement against you. And there are statutory damages. They can sue you and they will get them. Regardless of whether you made $1 or $100 million, they can still seek these statutory damages because the law basically says, if you do this thing, we can slap you with these fines, basically. So, to the answer of you can get it cleared, how do you do that? A lot of you are familiar with BMI versus ASCAP, right? So these are the performance rights organizations for the United States. There are performance rights organizations for all the countries, right, or the majority of all the countries, but the ones for the United States, the big ones, are BMI and ASCAP. And why that matters to you is just because if you need to find who owns the song so that you can reach out to them and say, hey, I want to sample it, let's do a license, I'll pay you some money, right, whether you're using it in your song or your video, whatever. And so what you do is you just go on both platforms and you do a little search. Okay, really easy. Go to Google and type in BMI catalog search, and usually it'll bring up the link. You click the link and then you just put in like the name of the song that you're searching for. If you don't find it on BMI, then you go to ASCAP, ASCAP. You go to ASCAP and you do the same search, or just go to Google, right? So ASCAP catalog search. And so you'll be able to find what song you're looking for on one of these platforms. And then they'll have information like the publisher, often the record label. So whoever you need to reach out to go and get that contact information of who do I need to speak with, and then just start talking shop. This is what I want to do. This is the, reach I think it's going to have. What's your licensing fee? Now, sometimes, and I've run into this as well, sometimes you don't get a response, right? And so then the question might be, well, what do I do if I don't get a response? And the answer is you don't use the sample. Okay, because if you do, you just run the risk that, your song will be successful and now you have a big target on your back. And so I use examples like, Cardi B, right? So Cardi B or Nicki Minaj, right? When they become huge stars, it's not that overnight success, right? They usually have been doing their thing for a long time, and they probably were doing mixtapes, and they probably were kind of sampling, or the producers were sampling without getting authorization. So now, later on, right, they're getting those lawsuits. So they come to haunt you. So it's definitely not something that you want to be doing, but there is a way to do it. And there's an additional kind of workaround that you can consider. So I had a client, and the client was asking, what if I recreate the song from scratch? Okay, so it's the same song, the same melodies, and obviously it's just my voice, my production. Well, then I say it's not sampling anymore, right? So remember, we just defined sampling as taking something from the final recorded version. If you're not sampling, it's a cover song. And if it's a cover song, guess what? You get to obtain a mechanical license, which is cheap. It's easy. I walk you guys through how to do this. Just search Top Music Attorney cover songs on YouTube. And I have a couple full-length videos kind of going over the same substantive information of like where you go, how you do it. Easy breezy, right? So as an artist, I do a ton of cover songs. I don't think we're watching a cover song at the end of today's show, but we usually watch, one of my music videos or one of the cover songs that I've done. So the answer is it's very easy to do cover songs. But if you're trying to take something, again, directly from the song, that's a sample, and that means you have to get a sync license, right? Or a sync license or a master use license. There's a number of things that we'll call it depending on the use. So then a couple of the common questions. What if I don't earn any money from the use, right? So if I'm doing a sample, if I took it and I just have it on my mixtape and I throw it up on SoundCloud, if I'm not making any money, is that, basically okay? And the answer is no. You didn't have permission. It's still copyright infringement. Well, what if other artists are doing, the same thing, right? Am I going to get caught? And I just go back to experiential wisdom. If other people are doing it and then you start doing it and you don't get caught for a number of years, it's just a matter of time. And, you'd be so lucky that you just never blow up, right? That there's only 2 plays on your SoundCloud song, right? And those 2 plays just happen to not be the people who are going to file copyright infringement claims against you. Okay, so it's more of just act like a business, think about this stuff, really strategize, and be like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I understand the potential consequences and liability, and the better bet is you're good enough to make a great song. You don't have to sample. You don't have to take from someone else's kind of hit song. And the best case scenario is just to do the license, right? I mean, on the flip side of this, on the last show, we were kind of talking about how Kanye, he went and took a sample and he's getting sued because he didn't get it cleared. So it's not just independent artists doing this. There are obviously big artists as well who just decide to kind of throw caution to the wind. They'll deal with the problem later. I don't know what the thought process is, but when it comes to sampling, sometimes it takes a lot of money. So there can be a deterrence to wanting to do it. I get it, but I hope you guys find this helpful. And so when you are, for example, reaching out, you want to get a license agreement to do those samples. If you're working with a producer, make sure you get a collaboration agreement, right? I'm always giving you guys these agreements for free. You can get them as well through my book, How to Keep Your Dukes Up in the Music Business. That's at topmusicattorney.com. And like I said, those contracts come for free with the book. So make sure you get your copy today. All right, going back to the chat, Ice Baby. Yeah, there you go. No, so what he did is he went, you know what? My computer's being so slow. It's like freezing. That Orko, let me know if anything weird happens, but it's kind of freezing on my end. So Ice Baby, right? So we had a situation where someone just, comes and decides to take a sample and then has a hit song. And what he ended up doing is he went and actually purchased the beat, which I thought was actually very smart. But, sometimes what happens is after the fact, right? So we have like the Taylor Swifts of the world, and they have their songs come out that end up being huge hits, and they're like, oops, I think that this kind of sounds like this other song, and they'll just voluntarily reach out to the person and they will do a deal. And they will give them a share of proceeds or pay them a licensing fee because they just don't want to deal with the headache of a copyright infringement claim. So all really interesting stuff. All right, going back here to the chat. Yeah, no, it's good. I just think I'm having some death of my mouse or something, but you guys are coming through just fine. All right, CJ on YouTube has a question. Originations give you the original copyright owner if you're looking for a cover like Tainted Love, for instance. Loads of covers of the Scottish folk song, but loads of different instrumentals. Yeah, I mean, unless something's in the public domain. So things enter the public domain because they are so old, you're only entitled to copyright for a certain period of time, and then copyright laws continue to change and extend because of basically Disney. Disney keeps, petitioning the government for extensions because they don't want to lose the rights to Mickey, but that's actually coming up in the next couple of years. So the answer is, again, when it comes to doing cover songs, you can. It's easy breezy. Just get a mechanical license for the reproduction of the audio and then do your own version, right? You can use the exact same melodies, exact same words, all of that. And in fact, you're supposed to. You can't just take like the essence of the song, right? And then completely change the lyrics or completely change the melodies. All right, question. Is sending a lease document via email a legally binding way to enter an agreement between producer and our artist as long as that's articulated in the document? So if you're talking about a license, right? We're not talking about like a lease for property, right? Landlord tenant kind of thing. If we're talking about a lease or a license and that's being sent via email, well, it can be a legally binding agreement if you've put it in writing, but it's not something that the parties signed, if that makes sense. So this is a really good rule of thumb. If you are doing a deal with someone and it's like a verbal agreement, verbal agreements are enforceable, right? With some narrow exceptions, but putting it in an email memorializes what that agreement was. Okay, the next best step is to actually make sure that you have something that everyone signs, right? So if it's between the artist and the producer, then obviously, to your point, it's articulated in the document, everyone signed it, and then it's hard to say, oh, we didn't agree to that. That's the problem with oral agreements. We can enforce them, right? We can take it to court, but the problem is that it's really hard to prove who said what. So that's when now we're digging into emails and we're digging into text messages, and that's where those emails do come into play. Be like, hey, John, when we were talking about doing that deal and you said I was going to get 50%, sounds great. And now you at least have that in an email. But the best bet is absolutely to make sure you go and actually get a contract. And that's why I put those templates in the book. So make sure you get a copy of that. David from Facebook, I remember when Vanilla Ice got sued by David Bowie and Queen. The day after the Grammys that year, the song went straight up to #1, and that's when they filed. Fun times. There's been a lot of incredibly interesting lawsuits, and we reference a lot on this show, the Blurred Lines case, right? Pharrell, and just kind of what happened with the Marvin Gaye estate. They won. And so that's definitely a big learning lesson, especially when it comes to like not even just ripping off the exact melody, right? Using the exact same things from the song, but it's not a cover. So now we're still getting into copyright infringement territory because even though it's not a sample, if it's not a cover and you still took their melodies and you still took their words, we have an issue of copyright infringement. So great questions. I got another question. Let's hit this one. We're going to be bringing in that Orko here pretty soon, but I want to make sure we hit the questions in the chat. So I'm ready to launch my Beat store, cool, and wanted to know how I should go about taxes and paying co-producers and what are their tax liabilities. So the good news is that, unless you're their accountant, your obligation is just to make sure that everyone gets paid their fair share. So if you're launching a Beat store, and, you have producers who are uploading instrumentals to your platform, you need to make sure that you have really solid terms and conditions, right? To say, hey, if you're going to use our website and become a seller, these are the things that you are agreeing to, which would be things like, if you get sued, you're going to indemnify us, right? Because what could happen is that if an artist gets sued for a sample that was in a beat from one of your third-party producers, you as the platform could get sued as well, right? So you need to have what are called, indemnifications or a indemnification. And then as far as, tax liability, you make sure it says things like, hey, you're not our employees, you're contractors, you pay your own taxes. And then, of course, you make sure you pay your taxes. But those things are typically kept separate. And, look, I know a lot about how all the taxi stuff works with businesses just because I'm in operations with my clients. But best rule of thumb, obviously, make sure you always get an accountant as well, including when you start growing and you're getting, some larger revenues coming in. Boom. Very good. Thank you for the kind words. Alrighty. Well, with that being said, we are going to bring in that Orko now. Hello, hello.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello to the community. Welcome. Thank you guys for being here. It means so much that you guys are here. I mean, we are growing at a alarming rate on this channel. If you joined us last Friday, we talked about we just hit 15,000 subscribers. And it was very exciting. Our Top Music Attorney Instagram channel, you guys have been all coming over, and we really appreciate that. So if you haven't yet, please come over to Top Music Attorney on Instagram, on Facebook, and
No, I'm gonna pull it up while you're talking,
yeah,
guys. He's not kidding. Like it's I don't
it's been
understand.
outstanding.
I don't understand what's happening, to be honest. So we were just at like 35,000 a few days ago or something, and now we're at 41.4, which is just amazing. So yeah, come over. We have all kinds of we post clips from the actual show and little summarized versions. But I do a lot of TikToks,
You got a lot of
and
bits. You do a lot of bits.
I do lots of bits.
There I am back there celebrating something. There me again. Look at me. Look at me. My MF Doom shirt. You got me up there.
You could do get ready with me to get ready to lawyer.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys very much for following and supporting. It's fun. I appreciate that we're growing, and it's very exciting because this is I always feel with any journey with a show, with social media pages and things like that, the funnest is usually in the beginning when you start seeing those initial bursts, and at some point it gets really big and it's going to be less exciting, but the first 1,000, the first 10, the first 50 are always the most exciting. So I appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Shout out Chris, 11-second eclipse. Who else is in the chat? I see you guys all out there. We are broadcasting from a couple Facebook pages, a couple of YouTube pages, but please come join us over on YouTube, Top Music Attorney. Yeah, no, her TikToks are so good. So she has, I'll give you a little insight. I'll give you a little insight in this little casual conversation segment of the Top Music Attorney podcast. So, when I wake up on her Saturdays are pretty much reserved for, before I get up and get to her TikTok creation. And she does, and I might even actually make this into a little tip right now. She bulk creates her TikToks. So she'll go through and she'll spend her Saturdays with her scripts, and has a nice little organization. One day I want you to show with the channel. Not today. I want to tease it. But you're probably your best hack for doing TikToks with the way that you organize and the way that you set them up. It's pretty ingenious. I remember you were showing other TikTokers that have large accounts your method of doing it, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, that was crzy how you do it."
Yeah, no, so, I'll need to do some kind of thing. But to be clear, guys, so for my Saturdays, I segment my life, and so I'm from when I get up and do my morning stuffies, and then up till 3. At 3 o'clock, I stop, and then it's time for other stuff. But whatever I can pack in, then that's when I make my content, because Monday through Friday, I'm running a law firm, we're doing the show, I'm working on my music career. I don't have time for it, but I don't have the excuse not to. So if I can do it, you definitely can do it. And then just be prepared to just embarrass yourself making TikToks so you find something that works.
No, it's so funny because she has all those bits and stuff, and then I'll come out and she'll still be kind of in the middle of it, and I'll try to peek in and see what she's working on. But yeah, no, just the scheduling of your life and making sure that you have these things, and when you have the time, you actually just get up and do them, because the fact that we are growing so fast across all social media platforms isn't by accident. It isn't by just we got lucky. We're working very hard on this channel for the community.
We're working hard and we're lucky. It's I don't have nothing else to say about that. Ooh, but I do have a question here. Craig on Facebook, let me answer this really fast. If you do a recording of a performance in service of an organization, the organization has rights to the recording, not the filmer. If the relationship is terminated, right. The answer is if you are an employee under copyright law in the United States, the copyright's owned by your employer, but you have to be an employee. Okay, it's very important that you understand this distinction. If you're just a contractor, meaning you're not getting, withheld, for taxes and Social Security and all of that. You're just a contractor, so you just kind of do some work here and there. You get paid based on your hours. Then that means you own it, unless you sign something giving ownership to the company. So, good question.
That's a really good question.
Okay, so actually here, let's jump in. Guys, just a friendly reminder, we are going to start doing artist submissions at some point in the coming shows, and so that means artists will have the opportunity to actually submit links to their profile, links to their music. We'll do a review. That Orko's a music producer. Obviously, this is what I do all day long with reviewing clients' kind of businesses as musicians, as producers. So get ready for that.
This is going to be so much fun. And honestly, we are going to be, I know we've been kind of teasing this, but we're really just trying to tease it out right now. But if you are not following her on Top Music Attorney Instagram, that's probably going to be the best place to start getting where you're going to be submitting. We're going to be giving out the email address where you can do that too. So excited to meet the community on cam, get to know what you guys are doing, share some of our tips with you, have you share some of your tips with us, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have things that we haven't even thought of. I know that when I see some of the comments that are on the videos that we actually release of the tips, you guys are dropping your own gems in there. So we always appreciate that. This is a community, and we all need to kind of help each other and support each other.
All right, so before we get to our first news segment, Duke on YouTube, have you ever had any high-profile cases, not like Johnny Depp, but something substantial or anything like that? Yes, I'm lucky in that I get to work with the high-profile, celebrities and musicians and record labels, and for me, I really like the business stuff, right? So even if it's a large independent artist who's doing these big deals, we're selling catalogs, these are high ticket items. And so I haven't had my Johnny Depp trial just yet. But on that note, we have a Amber Heard Johnny Depp post-trial update for you as part of our news segment.
Stay tuned for that.
We're going to get into that. So first up, Kate Bush breaks 3 world records with running up that hill. Now, for those of you in the chat, I don't know if you have seen the last 2 episodes of this season of Stranger Things. We're going to try not to have any spoilers.
No spoilers. I was really trying to think of how I was gonna talk about some of the things I wanted to talk about. Not just about placements, but just about other things that are going on without giving spoilers away. For those that haven't seen it, it's really cool. The last 2 episodes were actually really good. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so let's talk about this song really fast because we have been, and thank you very much, John. So we've been kind of following what's been going on with Kate Bush's song because, I mean, this is a song from the 80s, right? So it fits perfectly with the show. But as far as the popularity of the song, man, this thing is just stuck at #1 in the UK. And now it's actually getting, awards, basically, and tweets from Cher.
That was pretty crazy too, because she did overtake. Cher had held one of the spots, so she got 3 Guinness Book of World Records, and it holds the records for the longest time for a track to reach #1 because it was released in 1985. So from 1985 to now, so that's how long it takes to get to #1. It is on the UK charts, oldest female to ever reach the #1 on the UK's official singles charts, which is, I don't know if that's a little shade thrown in there.
I know. No, let's just go past that one.
I'm gonna move past that. I really didn't like that one as much. That one kind of hit me. I was like, I don't know what you're saying there. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the longest gap between #1 spots on the UK official singles charts. So, it's very exciting for her. But Cher had it from before with Believe. Which changed music in itself.
And Cher, for a number of reasons, including auto-tune. That's a whole other conversation. But so Cher's tweet, she goes, "Bravo, Kate. Records are meant to be broken. Remember back in the day when women had short sell-by dates? We had to fight our way through the testosterone curtain, and we did it so the girls who came after us could sing as long as they want. With mega respect, kissy emoji me." I love that.
And it's so funny because I've been loving that we've been covering not only Kate Bush but this song, because this song in particular I'm a huge fan of the song. I have been for many years. This was actually a song that Krystle, me and Miss Krystle considered covering at one point, but I didn't because that other girl just put, I can't even think of what her name is, but she just had a version of it that was on Mix 96.9, and it was different from what we were doing, but I was just like, like I don't want to just, like, everyone's like, somebody caught on to this song, and then later on now it's in Stranger Things. The moment's gone for it. It's cheesy if we do it now. But fantastic song, fantastic artist.
And what did she make? She made a cool 2.3 million so far.
2.3 on the and that just goes to show the power of the right placement with the right show. So far, Stranger Things has not, jumped the shark at all. It's still right on course. I'm ready to go for the next season. I'm not giving any spoilers away, but you should know at this point, if you've opened up your social media, there's going to be another season of Stranger Things. But don't look for that till 2024.
Yeah, they always do that, right? So they
haven't even written it. They haven't written
it. And these kids are like, aging by 20 years every time we see them, and they're like 2 years later.
No, it's crazy, like just how much they have aged in the show. But I don't know if that's a tribute to they have other projects going on. I don't know if that's attributed to how long, because I recommend you go check out, once you're done watching the show, go back and take a look at some Netflix's social media pages and stuff, because they're releasing tons of behind the scenes from these shows and how they're put together with all the effects and stuff. That might be why it takes so long. It is incredible what these actors are doing on the show. I've had a lot of fun with Stranger Things. There's definitely some moments where maybe I fell asleep once or twice. But generally, I really like it. I like it how it has that Goonies meets like Nightmare on Elm Street vibe. Like the show just feels, and Ghostbusters, it feels like they just kind of take everything kind of cool about the 80s movies and they kind of put it into their shows and stuff. Yeah. And it's kind of like, I feel like if you're not in a certain age demographic, you can miss it. You know what I mean? Like if you're not into it, but I love it, and I can't wait for the next season. I will say one thing that's not really a spoiler, but I also heard that there's going to be doing a couple of spin-offs of the show.
Of course they are. Are you crazy? What a franchise, move. They're not going to let us be done when we're through this. So it will continue for another decade.
And the last piece I'm going to add is watch those episodes for another placement, not by Kate Bush, but another placement by another band that is going to, predictions, soar those sales through the roof, and you're going to have another kind of Kate Bush moment. Maybe not as extreme, but you're going to have another reassurance of another band too. So,
all right, moving on. Taylor Swift's alleged stalker arrested following an incident in her New York home. Now, the last time we talked about Taylor Swift, it's been a minute. So this was at the end of last year, and we were kind of discussing the fact that Taylor's new album, Red, right, she was basically re-recording her record, and we talk. And so if you want to watch that, just search Top Music Attorney, Taylor Swift. But we go at length of discussing how it works, why she's able to re-record her album, and the fact that Universal had a pretty surprising response to that. So that was the last time we touched on what's going on with Taylor Swift.
And she's inspiring other artists to do that. We also covered Ashanti, who was inspired the same path.
Ashanti is indeed going down the same kind of path. And so, as far as artists kind of re-recording their music because they don't own the masters after they have signed the deal with the record label, but this is a way for them to kind of take control and autonomy over their legacy again. Very interesting, and Taylor Swift, as always, leading the way, but she's also dealing with some stalkers. All right, so the man who was allegedly stalking Taylor Swift outside her building in New York City last month has been arrested, and this was on the 1st of July, I believe. Joshua Christian. He was taken into custody on Friday, 3 weeks after a scary incident in which he attempted to gain access to her residence and threatened to hurt the singer if she refused to be with him. Yikes.
Yeah, you see, there's a couple pictures. I don't know. The images are kind of small, but he's got this whole Charles Manson thing going on too, which I don't know. Like, if you are going through all of this trouble of, trying to stalk Taylor Swift or not
And
even stalk.
proclaim
I
your
don't even like
love. Let's let proclaim your
I don't.
love
Let's
or
just let's take
something.
let's take stalking off because that's not even the path I really want to go. If you want to be noticed by Taylor Swift, if you want to be, like, oh, that'd be really dope if I was friends with Taylor Swift, or maybe
Mhm.
one day I'd like to date Taylor Swift. I don't know. I've never seen her date anybody that has. She's dated a lot of people, and I've never seen her date somebody with hair or look like that. So you think he'd maybe want to fit the role, so maybe he might have a shot. I mean, he's going in there pretty unkempt, trying to stalk her out. I don't know what he's expecting anyway.
Well, this isn't the first person.
Stalker.
Stalker, but I guess with this one, he actually went to a building. This was on in March, so he went to one of her buildings. The door was unlocked, and he actually went in. And then this most
Scary.
recent incident of just showing up, and then he called in right through the call box and was, I guess, actually speaking with someone inside of the apartment. So, definitely very, very scary, and I feel bad. We don't know if she was actually in the apartment when this happened, but someone
No.
had that interaction.
So no, there was a neighbor because I think he lived on the block or something like that. I read a neighbor of his was saying that he which just always gave her kind of weird vibes, and that he was trying to like when went to renew his lease in the building, they were just kind of like, dude, you're kind of giving off weird vibes. But they said they know that Taylor Swift lives on the block, but she's hardly ever in that house. Like, she mostly stays like somewhere else. So, but either way, it's what's scary is just how accessible people kind of make themselves, or how accessible, not even that they make themselves, that people just kind of are. Like, it's kind of worth trying to go through your stuff and trying to, protect your identity and stuff like that, because I don't know, it's scary. People are taking a lot of liberties with we're hearing a lot of like these stalking. I mean, we've always heard them, but it's scary stuff, man.
So, Duke on YouTube, is stalking worth a lawyer's time, though? I feel like that's a police issue. So, often what you want to do when you're dealing with a stalker situation is you go and get a restraining order, right? So, an injunction against harassment. It might be called something different in your state, but often the court wants you to come in person. They don't even want to talk to an attorney. They want you to come before the judge, and you'll submit your evidence and be like, this is why I'm concerned. Here are text messages, here are emails, here are letters, whatever it is. I mean, Kim Kardashian, we just talked about that recently, right? She had to get one because this guy was sending her, almost like a dozen letters, and he was not only saying things of a romantical nature and kind of putting them in that position, but, saying he's going to do bad things to her and her kids, right? So number one, you want to get a restraining order, but sometimes you got to come, that additional step. Maybe you do need to file some kind of lawsuit, but in most cases, you want to get, a court order saying you have to stay, or that person has to stay away from you, or they get arrested.
Listen, and if I can offer just kind of like a pro tip to people, and stalking isn't something that just happens to women. You hear plenty of guys are getting stalked too. So this isn't like a female issue. This isn't a man. This is a people
Well,
issue.
very good point. So we were talking about DaBaby, right? So a fan
Right.
was trespassing on his property, was like scaling the wall, and DaBaby ended up shooting the trespasser, right? So
Right.
in the same kind of way, you have, call it whatever you want. You have kind of a crazy fan or a super fan who's maybe just trying
But
to
you don't
meet
even
their
have to be.
hero.
But you don't even have to be a fan, like, because it's celebrity is defined very differently these days. You don't have to be a rapper. You don't have to be an actor to be a celebrity. You could have a nice following on your Instagram page that you're trying to promote. So, my pro tip is, if you're ever getting vibes from somebody, make a like a Word document or something and detail those people's information if you ever need it, so you have records of when people are harassing you and stuff like that. Just have it ready, because you never know. And I just really want everybody to be safe. There's, like I said, people are putting more and more of themselves out there. Make sure your locations and stuff are turned off on your social media, so when you're posting, like, you're not going, hey, I'm here, at this time. Like, just be safe out there. Like, being safe is not just for like 11-year-olds on the internet. It's for adults too.
And one last thing, just kind of a random note as it relates to Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift, a couple weeks ago, she was talking talking, or I should say, People magazine published an article talking about how Taylor Swift's like, I have imposter syndrome about being a director, right? So a film director, and she's taken charge of a lot of her recent music videos. And so she was like, I'm kind of in this weird position where I haven't been going to school for this. I'm not properly trained, but this is something I really would love to do and be like a feature film director. And as I was watching her All Too Well, the short film, which was one of her directing debuts, Sadie Sink was starring in it. And I wasn't aware of this until now, but Sadie Sink, so being Max in Stranger Things, right? So that we were talking about in a prior segment.
Full circle. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I think that's great. And I think that should be inspiring to everybody. Like, just do it. I wasn't always a music producer until I started producing music. You have to go through whatever you want to do, and just because you don't feel like you have to go to school to do something, especially if it has something to do with the arts. Arts are a little bit different.
Oh yeah, it's like every great everything. They're always like, oh, I dropped out of high school and never went back, and now I'm like the greatest film producer or music producer. Like, so you'll be fine. You just need to get those 10,000 hours of skill training in your skill of choice.
most of any kind of just trying to get into any kind of entertainment industry or just any kind of field with artistic or just anything generally like that is just, you got to have the drive and the motivation and the heart. Like, that's what does it, and the ability to want to learn and not getting discouraged and working when all your friends are kind of going out and getting drunk. You're hanging out working on whatever your craft is. Like, that's how you do it. And, I edit videos. I do, I've edited plenty of music videos and, directed videos and all kinds of stuff. I didn't know how to do that until I was in a position where I had to learn how to do that. And then I got better at it, and now I can do it. So,
no, just, even for my stuff, right? I was talking to someone over the weekend about this, and I was just like, I've directed the majority of my music videos, not because I'm like, ooh, I want to be, a director. It's just, I'm very clear on my vision. I write the treatments. And then, if I don't have someone to kind of fill that position, I just do it. And, and that's just a comfortable position for me because I'm a bossy lady. So with that being said, let's move on. This is kind of a weird one, and we're just going to go with the flow on this one. So, I trapped 25 strangers in a house. Okay. This is going viral right now on YouTube. And in fact, we'll give a little context really fast. So this is on the channel Airrack. And Airrack has insane, not only subscribership, right? So he's about to hit almost 8 million followers, but has additionally just amassed an insane amount of views on his videos. I mean, look at this. Just like, I think on the low end, we're looking at 11 million, 4 million. And I would kind of qualify his content as experimental or social experiments. And so lots of, for example, I threw 25 strangers into a house and had them go through a bunch of challenges for some money just to see what would happen. Okay, so that's the premise of what this video is. Now, this video is a long
This is really interesting. I just want to make a quick comment when you pulled up that how many subscribers he had. We had this conversation yesterday when we were watching The Floor is Lava. And it's another great show that's on Netflix. It's a fun competition show where you're obstacle course and the floor is lava. So, but there was these contestants on it that were like influencers, and they had like 21 million followers and like all these things.
No, 25. He's like, I have 25 million.
And I've never heard of these kids before, and I've never seen, or anything about it. And just same with this guy. This guy is trending right now, and I have never, heard of him. So,
So Eric Decker.
It's just crazy. Creator. Oh, I get it. Yeah, Eric. Like Eric. But it's Airrack. But it's Eric.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. So for the stragglers who find this video later on because you're fans, feel free to drop a comment down below. Help to educate us. How did you find Eric and all of that? So let's go back to this now. I'm going to narrate. I'll keep the captions on, but let's just go through this in the bits of what they did. Okay, and I'm going to give you a little bit of. So he invited 25 strangers into the house. They don't know each other, but they've appeared on some of his prior videos and challenges. And so now, over the period of 2 days, they're going to be going through a bunch of challenges to try to win a big reward. Now, guys, as you know, you kind of go through this video, you'll find that there is a sponsorship, and so there's things that you can opt in as a viewer to try to win some money as well. But they are competing for $10,000. So they have their masks. They now, and he's doing the recap of like, oh, here's all the, times we saw the participants in my other videos. So let's go to the first challenge, which is at 225. So this is where my first concerns about legal liability comes into play. So what he did right now is he just described that those little balls, they are red golf balls, okay? And he says, all right, guys, there are, and I think it was 10, that went by a little quickly, but he goes, there's only so many golf balls that are somewhere in or around the house, and then there's also a circle of seats. If you find a golf ball, you get to sit on the seat. If by the end of this you don't find a golf ball, you're automatically eliminated. Okay, so I think a big chunk.
Like an egg hunt.
Like an egg hunt. It's been a long time since I did that. I think the most I ever found in an egg hunt was like $20. And this was when I was really young. So I was like, I'm rich.
You probably were at that time.
That's right. So he says, go. So now look at how hard these kids, and I say kids, but they're probably in their 20s and 30s. But I mean, they're going in, and you see them shoving. And then I think one person...
Ow! You're going to slip and fall.
I think someone throws someone else in the pool. Yep, there she goes.
Oh my God! What do you do if somebody hits their head on the pool? You don't play around pools.
So
oh my God!
Like that example.
Right there, that right there, running across a wet plank.
Boom. So if he had shoved her, and let's say she fell a little bit further to the right, and she hit that ledge, right, and she broke a limb, she hit her head. So then let's talk about legal liability. So we hope that this content creator has good legal counsel and has, obtained liability waivers from the participants. So right out the gate, you gotta have a contract that says, hey, you are participating in our little show here. And so there's a couple things you gotta know. Number one, we're gonna show your face because, obviously if you record 25 people and someone doesn't look good or they kind of come off as an asshole, like you don't get to say anything about it. And if you don't have them sign something saying that, they'll hire an attorney and, get your great video taken down. So that's number one. Number two, if you break your face on the pool, I don't want you suing me.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Like honestly, like $10,000 is not that much money. Like to I don't know. But then again, maybe like as you were saying, the kids or the the 20-year-olds and stuff like that. Like maybe they're just way more apt and way more not afraid of the end because like I'm not playing games. I'm not playing games like that. I know how dangerous. I mean, like some of the stuff I'm sure we'll see. I don't know anything about this channel or challenge, but just seeing them fight around. I'm not fighting around a pool. Like it's not that serious, bro.
So we just saw all the initial contestants who didn't make it into chairs. Boom, boom, boom. So 15 were eliminated, or we're down to 15. So I think 10 were eliminated. Now we're at 15. Okay, so then they go through and they get some, reactions. And so let's go forward just a little bit. So now we're going to challenge number 2. Okay, so challenge number 2.
They should have put. Hold on, I'm really troubled by this swimming pool thing. They should have put padding. It's not that I have a problem with the physical activity or the wrestling or the fighting. It's just they should have put some kind of padding on the edges of the pool. So just if they know they're fighting around, that they're not going to slam their heads on concrete.
There's a lot of areas in that house where you could get hurt, but where we're at right now, because this is not the only time that we're concerned about liability issues. But now the challenge is you have 10 minutes. And you have to come up with some kind of little skill, right? We're having not show and tell. What would it be? Just like a recital or whatever, a talent show.
So
we're having a talent show. You have 10 minutes to come up with a skill, and so that's what we're.
Hold on.
What?
Before you play this, it just made me think. What would if we had a talent show right now? What would your skill be? But it can't be singing.
Oh.
Or not music.
Well, the first thing my brain goes to is I just have to start talking to you guys about all the things I tried to be superhuman. And not getting eliminated immediately. Oh, so here's the 10 hours of research I did on Spirulina this week.
That's your research skills?
My research skills. Blunky TV doesn't care if he gets pushed in. And that's also, like if you're a part of something.
Pushed in.
You have kind of, you're assumed right? There's assumed liability or that you might get hurt, right? If you're going to participate in this and you're running around and you're shoving and all this, you take on a little bit of that responsibility. So even if Eric did not get waivers signed because, these are friends of his, he's just doing this for fun. I've seen that for even huge content creators like Eric. So he doesn't get the contract signed. There still is an argument that the participants are aware of the danger. And so if they do break their legs or something that, potentially he's not going to be liable. Interesting. The assumption of risk. That is right. All right, so let's go back to this.
People are fame hungry.
Well, you know what? I mean, I think Eric probably made well over $10,000 on this video alone.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right. So now we're in challenge number 3. And actually, no, let me get through this. So this is where they're about to, and I'll show you guys some of the challenges or performances. So you had one who's a singer, and then you had other people who were doing that.
Oh, that guy good. He's good. Oh!
Oh, oh.
Good. She good too.
Yeah.
Oh! I don't know what that was.
All right, so then I think they had to vote.
I like those shirts.
Kind of, they're voting on who's going to, they did this for like a minute. They're going to vote on who's going to be eliminated. So that was something we saw throughout this process. In each stage, there was a lot of voting that happened to eliminate. So it wasn't so much like Eric and the organizers. They were coming up with some very creative things. What would you do? What would you do if, what's your talent?
I was spinning this whole time after I posed the question. It's like if I couldn't do something that was like kind of like musical related, I'm not really sure. I could dance. I could do some freestyle dancing.
You do have some of that dance. You got that sexy dancing.
I got a couple moves. I got like 2 moves.
You got 2 moves. All right. You could rap.
I could freestyle rap.
Okay, so now let's go on. So the next challenge is dodgeball. Okay, so most of us are aware they're now broken into, because they've eliminated, there's only 13 left. So I believe they've broken now into 2 groups. You have the red group and you have the blue group. And then as far as what they're using for dodgeball, I felt like the balls are small. Let's take a look at this. Did you ever play dodgeball in like high school?
Yeah, I loved high school. Well, no, elementary school. I don't think I do that in high school.
Guys, I was homeschooled, so I don't know. I say things. I don't know anything about it.
But I love dodgeball. That game was fun.
Yeah, so are those like the size of balls you normally have?
No, they usually have those giant kind of like red ball. They're like red handballs.
Right.
That they normally used.
Okay. So this is a critical point in the show. So Preston has to vote someone off of his team, and this was a very heartbreaking moment because he ended up voting off the girlfriend of one of the guys that's on the team. So now she's heartbroken. The guy's pissed off, and now he's coming for Preston.
And you have to remember, dodgeball is very dangerous. Remember that Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry David was playing dodgeball and he hit the movie or the restaurant critic, and he couldn't do this no more because he had his hands cast.
No, guys, yes. So now they're. Oh, okay. The boyfriend was on a separate team. All right, there we go. So on a side note about the Curb Your Enthusiasm, I feel like I should do like a reaction to almost every single episode because Larry David is always getting into legal situations, right? So there was an implied contract or there was an actual contract and he's breached. I really think that we should do that at some point. But anyway, I digress. Now there is a emotional goodbye. And they are regrouping from their, exciting dodgeball game. So now we're going to go on to the next challenge. Let me go here, which is pretty interesting. Ready? They have to retrieve the immunity card, which is guarded by these 2 wrestlers.
All right.
That seems fair. To note really fast, I need to know who this guy is. Who's this guy with the mask? On the right. No, two guys.
Creepy is what they are. They some NY drill artists.
I need to know what is going on here. So the first guy, we gotta watch this for a second because I'm very impressed with this first guy.
Yeah, this seems fun. This seems reasonable.
Ready?
Oh, there you go. Out of here, son. Out of here, son. Like, not even a thing. That guy's awesome. I don't even know if I would have been smart enough to do that, but that guy was awesome.
Yeah, so no, he did it. So they go through, and everyone else does not have such a good time, but they get through, and then they have an additional elimination. The next challenge is they do a trivia game. Now, in another shocking moment in the show, the kid who won, right? So I guess that was the boyfriend of the girl who got eliminated, and so he was gonna vote off Preston, right? Because Preston did his girlfriend wrong. But then that kid that we just saw who got the card, right? He gave the card to Preston, saving him. So it was a very important moment. All right. So in any case, the next challenge is just a trivia, right? So no real legal concerns. And it was just how many followers do you think I have? And so the team that got the closest won. So then let's jump now to the elimination, which is at the very end of the night. So this is where I think it's kind of interesting. So as a case study, right? So we've seen a lot of shows like where it's Survivor, and you see what do people really do when they're really stressed out or they really have something on the line. I mean, can you think of any shows you watched when you were growing up?
Like what, like elimination type shows or what?
Well, yeah, same kind of thing where you see people start to turn on each other in real time.
I mean, that's just life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I feel like, especially in this settings, it's supposed to be fun, right? We're a bunch of like young.
No, but any competition show where it's something, it's always so funny when we watch these shows and we're like, that people are making like, alliances, or they feel so betrayed, like on like sometimes these dating shows, right? And like they're all like they're competing for somebody, and then they make friends with other people in the house, and then when it comes down to like, they're, oh my god, they betrayed me. It's like, it's a competition show. Like, you're not here to make friends. Like, none of these people should be your friends. Like, you shouldn't go on these kind of shows with your girlfriend, like, unless you're ready to throw her under the bus. I mean, if you're trying to win, Squid Game, you're trying to win, unless you're trying to double cross.
Well, no, and so we're at another point now where they're having to eliminate. And so there you go. You see everyone just feeling heartbroken, because I think through this, even though it's not a traumatic experience, they're still bonding, right? They're still bonding with each other, and it gets tough. So let's move forward now. I think
I don't know about all the sorry stuff. I'd be like, you gotta go. Gotta go.
They're going through the votes. Arthur gets eliminated. And then the Jack, who was almost eliminated, is very upset at the rest of his team. He's like, who voted for me? And he's trying to get up in it. All right, so I think this takes us through. They go to bed, and now we're in day 2, and we're down to 9 participants. So now we have a needle in the haystack challenge, and I want to go back to again.
Oh my god.
Assumed risk of personal injury. Because watch, even this initial dive into the concrete, to be clear. So what they have to do is they have to find, I believe, their cards, and you get like $1,000 if you find one of the cards, and I think there's a couple in there. But this is where he starts kind of inter splicing the sponsorship. So this was a SoFi sponsorship, and so he starts kind of teasing it, and so viewers can, as he says, win $50,000, and so he's linking it up. Yeah, so I mean, he got a good sponsorship, and the sponsorship probably paid the $10,000 as the prize. But anyway, needle in the haystack. You see the kids kind of going wild.
Yeah,
and they're, wrestling.
How much of that do you think is, I really want to win, compared with also added, I'm also being filmed, I got to look like I'm going a little crazy. Like, I don't know. They didn't, none of them needed to dive into that hay. Like, it's kind of ridiculous that they did. Just get in the hay.
I mean, personally,
that's where they're gonna get hurt. That's like when you see people like when they win a competition or they're in a competition, and then they try to do some kind of backflip celebratory thing, and then that's where they get hurt. It's not from like the competition; it's from them celebrating or just overdoing something.
Right. Maybe. I believe it. I think these two right here end up kind of getting into it at the end. But I would be all in. I don't care if this is just for like a little YouTube video. I feel like I think he starts crying. I think there's one kid that gets really upset. So no, I think they were taking it really seriously, and that's fair. All right. So then with the contestants that are remaining, they ended up, and actually they had kind of a brutal elimination. So let me just walk you through this. So what they ended up doing is they broke the remaining contestants, which I believe was 8, into, they said pair up really fast. Pair up, you have 60 seconds to pair up. And so let's pretend like you and I, right? You and I find each other, we pair up really fast, we're going to be a team. And then after you've paired up, they say you have 60 seconds to decide which one of you is going home.
Well, how would you do that?
So let's do it. You and I in these types of challenges, right? So it's some physical, some mental. Who's going home? Are you voting that I'm staying, or do you think you're the better participant to stay?
I'll be like, well, I mean, I don't know. I would vote. I don't even understand. I don't even understand what you're saying. It's like, so you're saying like I have to vote. I either vote to stay or I vote to leave.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make any. That doesn't even. Why would I ever vote to leave unless you're like?
So now they have to say they decide she has to stay. All right, they go to the next group.
Are we making an agreement that I'm gonna like split the winnings with you, or is that what we're doing? Like, oh, okay, like I don't care if you really want to stay. Just if you win, you're splitting it with me. Like, is that what we're doing? Oh, okay. Well, then then I'll make a deal with you. I guess.
I mean, I'll just jump to the chase. I'd be the one staying. Let's be honest. I mean,
why would you be the one staying?
Because
if it's physical activity, I can't even imagine.
I am clearly of
you're getting your gains on, unless it's like leg presses, because I know you're really good at your leg presses.
Yeah.
If the challenge is leg presses, then I definitely would want you to take it. But like I don't know, or if it's like legal stuff, I'd want you to take it. But like I don't know.
I'm the one staying. I don't care what you say. So here we are.
If it's for just generally being awesome, I should.
They now have the last 4 participants, and they're playing hide and seek. And so Eric is going to be the one that has to go and find them, right? So now we see where everyone is going. Josh decides to go near the barbecue outside. Skylar, I think she hides. Yeah, she ends up hiding in the cabinet. And then here we go. And then he's just seeing who he can find. And I think it's like whoever he finds last gets eliminated. I forget which it is for this one. But in any case, he walks around, and I think there's only one that he doesn't find, and she comes out at the end.
Chivalry is dead in the chat. No, I hear you. But I want to win.
Yeah, what's going on over here? You gotta. I mean, if I say if I'm the one staying, you gotta go. All right. So now the last challenge. So it's down to 3, and they set up this little mat area, and the 3 basically are gonna like wrestle. So you need to get the other people outside of the line. And then whoever is left wins. So now in this scenario, had I known this was the challenge, maybe it would make more sense that you go, right? Because obviously weight is going to play into it. But they never said there's no chokeholds, because I could put him in a chokehold. I could definitely take care of those.
Yeah, but if you got on my back and if you did like a chokehold, I would just stand up because you don't weigh that much. That's what I'm saying. Like something like she's gonna like that guy's gonna win, of course, because she just got shoved out. I'm saying, of course, you've seen everything being physical. I would just want to make sure that we were locked in. Like, if we thought it was going to be some kind of, for instance, if you knew there was going to be more trivia things about pop culture and music, would you want me to stay or would you want to stay? Like, it's just you don't know what it is. You'd want to be careful.
No, that's true. That's
strategy, not chivalry.
Yes. All right, so next time we decide to go on some kind of reality TV show, we'll need to talk.
I just want
to
be a team, but I just want to be a team, and if we both have to get thrown off the boat, that we both go together. We just go together, win together, lose together.
So that was a recap on I trapped 25 strangers in a house, and just a little overview of things. So when I actually do represent real life, TV shows, reality TV, when we are doing these contracts, we are very much trying to make sure that the studio is protected from lawsuits. And, you go onto these shows knowing that there's going to be extreme physical activity. You may get hurt. And of course, I think the show's going to pay for you to go to the hospital and to pay for some things, but they need to be able to, have some of that liability protection. So I don't know what they did. This is a YouTuber, but, this guy I'm sure runs things like a real business. I hope he does. I hope he has legal counsel and he got those contracts signed.
Absolutely. You guys are having a lot of fun in the chat.
Okay, so I'm gonna touch on one last thing really fast, and then we're going to run a music video
Yeah,
today. I
so
think,
but
yeah.
before I get out of here, just let me remind you of a couple of things that we are going to be doing these artist review shows here coming up pretty soon. So make sure that you are subscribed to the Instagram channel for that to get information. But I mean, we'll be doing it, let you guys know on the live stream as well. But if you want to know where you need to submit, make sure you're locked in on Top Music Attorney Instagram. We're here live every week, Tuesday, Friday, 7 p.m. We'll be back Friday. I heard you mention my birthday week. I totally forgot that I get a week. I don't know when I'm gonna start my week. I like it on a day where I can start. Where I can really enjoy that first day. But I'm planning on a cheat meal for my birthday. That's gonna be very exciting with my new diet. I have not had any kind of cheat meals.
I know. No, we'll do a check-in. We'll do a check-in on Friday about how that's all going.
But I'm really looking forward to that. And then, yeah, stay tuned for a music video this time. It's going to be right after this. And you can find that music video when we play it on all social media or streaming platforms. So I'm out, though. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, that Orko. All right. So in our last little segment here, Amber Heard says, toss the verdict, judge. It's BS of the evidence, and there was a fake juror. So we had already heard reports and updates from Amber Heard's team that she was going to be appealing the verdict from the jury. And so Amber Heard, she wants basically a do-over, and she's asking the judge to do one of a couple of things, right? So she's saying either I want you to set aside the verdict, I want you to dismiss it altogether. I want you to dismiss the complaint or just order a new trial. And she's saying that for a couple of reasons. And I want your guys' thoughts on this because obviously we've been covering this. We covered the whole trial. We've been covering what's been going on. And so I'll be sure to link the playlist with all of our videos. But she's laid out a couple of reasons. One is that she's saying there was not sufficient evidence on Johnny Depp's side to convince a jury that her words created his career loss. Right, so we did kind of hear this in the trial as well, but as far as his career was already suffering, Pirates was kind of flopping anyway. They didn't want him in the first place, so the fact that he didn't get that number 6 was because of his own, wrongdoing, not showing up to set, being drunk. So we did hear that throughout the trial, and so that's a sentiment that she's continuing to reiterate. But, the problem is that you can't go back to the trial court and say, hey, I want you to, overturn the verdict and to have a new interpretation of the evidence. What the judge can do, what the court can do, is to potentially do something like that if the jury, for example, just simply ignored the jury instructions. Right? So the jury had a job, and if the jury failed to do that by ignoring their instructions, that could be a basis for the court to, come up with a different judgment, notwithstanding the verdict. So that was number one. Number two, she's talking about how there was other pieces of evidence that were not admitted into the trial that should have been. This has to do, obviously, with process. But then also this is really interesting, and I'm trying to get more information about it, but she's saying that juror number 15 basically was like a fraud. There was some other guy that wasn't the real person that was supposed to be there. So specifically, Amber and her team claim that one of the jurors who decided her fate may not have actually been the person summoned to court, and that the court apparently missed it by not properly vetting them. So this one's interesting, guys, for a couple of reasons, right? Because, part of the question comes to, well, is this a harmless error? So if it really was someone who snuck in or was trying to impersonate someone else or to fill in for them, we don't really know the exact scenario just yet, but would it have mattered? Because if it would have, right, and I'm sure Amber Heard and her team are absolutely claiming that, right, because they go, we would have had a total difference of an outcome because all we needed was one person to disagree on that jury. Remember, in Virginia, they require a unanimous verdict. And so, I think that that's a very strong argument to say that had there been the proper person, then potentially there could have been a different outcome. And so we have like a mistrial and we got to do it all over. So I think that that may be a little bit more of a strong basis for her to make this argument, but we need to know a little bit more about this juror number 15. And, again, was it in fact not the correct person? And guys, something I kind of want to remind you of is, remember, there were two alternates that were a part of the whole process. They saw the entire trial, but then they were dismissed by the judge at the close of closing arguments because for deliberation purposes, you always have alternates. That's just how it goes in case, at week 5 in the trial, a juror is hit by a bus and you don't want to make the, plaintiff and the defendant suffer by having to go through the whole process again. So a part of the way that our, judicial system is set up is to make sure that those alternates are in place. So my question was, why weren't the alternates included in the deliberation? Because let's say, if it had been unanimous across the board, including the alternates, and that was considered. So in the instance that we need to basically replace juror number 15 because of some foul play, which we're not even really clear on at this point. I don't know. I think that would have kind of cured or resolved this issue. All right, let's go back to the chat really fast. What is this? John Smith versus John A. Smith. It's her way to get around the appeal and paying all the money. It's kind of the first swipe, so to speak. So, when we're at the trial court level, we can ask the judge who oversaw the trial to make a determination notwithstanding the verdict based on some legal grounds. And then if and I've had this in my cases as well, and even if the judge says no, you still have the ability to appeal, which of course is a very expensive process. And we've also heard that, quite frankly, Amber Heard just can't pay the judgment. All right, so we're going to move in now and we are going to watch a music video. As always, I am going to be in the chat for the music video, so I love getting your feedback. And someone had asked earlier, as far as getting back and doing some live performances, I am going to be doing a live kind of acoustic performance, just kind of like me and my piano probably this week. So if you want to be, on that, be sure to follow Miss Krystle Instagram. And we kind of talked about Top Music Attorney as well. So we have all kinds of things going on the socials. Make sure you follow everywhere. Why not? And we'll be back on Friday at 7 p.m. PST. We have all kinds of things that are happening this week. So we will be sure to recap. And I should have a special guest on the show on Friday, which I'm very excited for. So let's move on whenever you're ready, that Orko. And I will see you guys on Friday. I'm Top Music Attorney, Miss Krystle. Bye, guys.
I woke up from your rage, smack that beautiful medicine. Blood spills from my face, love my beautiful punishment. You know just how much I can take, so don't worry about it. Your love is driving through the pain. Have faith about it. Little girls grow A lesson learned in faith. Trust when I don't know what I'm doing. I stepped out from my cage and I don't know where I'm going. I never feel like I am safe. I don't think about it. I never feel like you were safe. Have faith about it. Little girls grow up as dangerous daughters. Don't blame me, just blame my father. Little girls grow up as dangerous daughters. Don't blame me, just blame my father. You let me down.